Hi everyone, Elberg here, and today's lesson is going to be randomness. First of all, what is randomness? Random is flipping a coin, a slot machine, stock market, or decisions. What should you do now? Should you do A or B? So one of the things Excel does is it can generate random numbers. They're mostly known as pseudo-random numbers because they're not truly random like a coin flip is. But anyway, we're going to use this knowledge and feature to be able to randomly select what to eat. So let's get started. So we start by making a list of various meals to eat. And we'll start with, say, breakfast. And just some meals we can eat are eggs, toast, and how about we skip the meal maybe? McDonald's, I should get them to pay me for that. Diner, say waffles, yogurt, and that's good for now. So we have 8 items. So if I wanted to randomly select, I could just pick a number between, and we're going to bold that, between 2 and 8. So how do I get a number between 2 and 8? So we're going to use a function. And if you're not familiar with functions, you should check out my function video, which doesn't exist yet, but it will. So a function or a formula always starts with an equal sign, and then it's followed by some keyword. It could be sum or whatever, but in this case we're going to use rand between, and then you put a parenthesis and bottom and top. So we want to get a random number between 2, you put a comma there, and 8. Now the random number generated was 2. And if we recalculate the sheet, so a recalculation is whenever you type something in, it should recalculate that. You see 7 and delete it. So that's one way. There's also a key you can use called the F9 key. And the F9 key is on the top row of your keyboard. Hopefully you have a Windows computer, because this is for Windows. I should have probably said that ahead. And there's also an FN key on the lower corner. So most people don't set the F keys. So you have next on the top left, you have an escape key. You have a question mark and F1, F2. So if you press the question mark, well, actually you might not have a question mark. I think the F1, the question mark was for help. So if you press F1 key and nothing happens, then you're set up properly. If nothing happens, you might have to press the function key, so the FN key. So just a tip, I'll have another video on the keyboard if that's confused. But in the meantime, you could just enter something, and also if you're doing this in Google Sheets doesn't have that. So okay, so now we get 8, so we're going to eat yogurt. Or if we do it again, and I'm going to press the F9 key, 7, I'm just pressing F9. You see it just generates a random number between 2 and 8. So now the next thing I want to do is I want to actually be able to deal with the case if I add another thing here. So say I add the word bacon. You see it recalculated. But my random is only between 2 and 8, so I can change this to 9. And let's see if we can get a 9. There we go. So bacon would have been selected. Now, one of the things I want to do here is I want to put the words of what I selected somewhere. So, and I also want to make it so that if I add another one, I don't, let's start with that. So I want to add another item, but I don't want to change this. So the problem is that I need some way to get the number 9, and if I add another one, 10, 11, 12. And the way you can do that is with the count function. So we say equal, we say count, parenthesis, and then you can select. So we could select the items, A9, but we still have the same problem. I could select a bunch of them. Do it. I could select a bunch of them, so if I add more, it'll count them. Or I could just select the whole column by clicking here. But let's see, I lost that. Let's try that again. And you see it puts in A:A, which is telling Excel that it wants the whole column. And one of the issues we're getting, and I did this on purpose just to show you, is a very common error. You want to count items and you use the function count where you really have to use count A. Count will count only times where there's a number in the cell. And you see we have 1 and 2. So let's get rid of that. And let's change to count A. So count A counts the number of cells in the range that are not empty. So it'll get numbers or characters. So we have 9. Okay, so now we have to modify our random number here. Random between 2 and 9. We want to get rid of the hard-coded 9. Cut the 2. And click this cell here, which is cell C3, column C, row 3. And what's going to happen is it's going to substitute C3, which is a cell, for the number 9. So whatever's in cell C3 will create a random between. And you could also do it, so for example, if we did rand between, and let's do it GH. Let's do, it's not letting me, let's do I, H1, and I1. So it's 0 here. So I got to enter something into H1. So let's say 100 and 200. So we get 198. And if I recalculate, again, you might have to delete something or add some text. You see it's calculating a number. Or if I could say 1, 2, some big number. And we're getting some exponential notation, so I'll make that wider, and let's do it again. So you see, so you can get random numbers from any range, so it's very useful. And this is what allows it, is referencing a cell, H1 here. You see H1. Cell names always start with the column name, H in this case, and then the row. So these are the columns, A through M here. Okay, so now we have that, a random number. Let's see if we can add something here. Let's say fruit. And what should happen here? Think about what's going to happen is that 9 is going to change to a 10, which it did. And it just so happens it randomly selected number 10. Okay, so right now you can stop if you want, but let's make this a little fancier. What I want to do is I want to actually display what we're going to eat. So let's put in here, we want to get the 10th item from column A, and the way you do this is a function called index. So we're going to type in index. We're going to enter an array. An array is just a group of things. In this case, it's going to be the whole column. And then we have to give it a row number, and the row number is going to be this cell, this random cell, and we close it. So, and now you see if we recalculate, I'm pressing F9 on Excel, and you see it's going through different items, and then we can format this nicely. I'll just add some color. We'll center it, bold it, make it a little bit bigger, make this a little wider, and we'll press F9 again. Type and press F9 to recalculate. And we'll just do F9, and there you go. So if you want to pick a meal, you can do that. Now, just to make this a little bit nicer, we're going to hide columns A through E. So there's two ways I'll show you how you can hide it. We can just select them and then right click and say hide, which is one way to do it. I'm going to unhide it by pressing this little corner thing, right click, unhide. The problem with that is that I couldn't enter a new one if I wanted to enter a new breakfast to eat. So a better way to do that would be to group, and what I do is I'm going to select these columns. We're going to go to Data, Group, and that's not what I wanted. I'm going to press Control Z to undo that. Actually, we wanted to do it from here. So you got to go one before, Group. And there you go. So now this groups everything. It's going to hide, when I press this minus sign, it's going to hide columns A through E. And if you want to add a new item, you can now press the plus key. We could enter cereal. And now you see we have 11 items here. We have a random 9, which is 9 is bacon, and we will close this and cereal just came up. So it looks like even doing this action is recalculating. And I'll just press F9, eggs, cereal, waffles, bacon, fruit, toast. And that's all I have. And if you want, please leave a comment. And if you have any advice to improve this content, I'd appreciate it. Please like and subscribe, as I'm going to be producing a lot of Excel content. And you can also help me by purchasing my book, 33 Key Principles for Success, on Amazon. And it's 99 cents. It's a special. And you can reach that at kp4success, kps.com/Amazon, or you can just search 33 Key Principles at Amazon. Anyway, do appreciate it. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.